I know that I usually don't do music reviews on this channel, but fuck it, I'm full of joy, excitement, and I feel like sharing my 2 cents on this marvelous return to nu metal Korn has just made. So last night, Korn released their new single Rotting in Vain, which will be featured on their new and upcoming album titled The Serenity of Suffering. And holy fucking shit, dude. This song actually kinda took me by a big fucking surprise. This is like the late 90s / early 2000s Korn making a comeback, but in a more up-to-date sound. Now please don't get me wrong when I do say that I actually kind of like some of their electronic dubstepy stuff, at least some of it. But man, I really miss this brand of Korn. This right here is exactly what I love about Korn. The dark, gritty, ominous, sad, and angry, yet somehow relatable music they used to produce is something that I've been missing for a long time. If the rest of the album is as good as this song, then I will be definitely picking up a physical copy as soon as I can. In fact, I can assure you all that I haven't been this excited for a new Korn album since 2006, and holy shit, does that feeling make me happy. I actually had low expectations at first, and yeah, I do realize that that's kind of a shitty thing to say, especially about a band I actually happen to really like, and one that I have been a huge fan of since the age of 12, but for me, the last really good Korn album ever released was See You on the Other Side, which was 11 years ago. After that, it was just kind of a downhill spiral, one record after the other. Now, as far as the actual mixing and sound of the song goes, I do feel a tad bit conflicted, because on one hand, I do actually really like the fact that Korn is exploring and updating their sound, but I can't help but to feel like this is a small step down from the groovy, cranky, rusty, and noisy sound they used to make back in the day. This almost feels too clean and sanitized for me, because there's no raw, hip-hoppy, distorted, or cranky feel to this song. Instrumentally speaking, it almost doesn't even sound like a Korn song. It just sounds a bit too polished for me, as if someone took one of the best elements of Korn, which is the gritty and raw feel, and then replaced it with the typical metalcore sound you've all heard a million times by now. Feel these bass slaps are barely noticeable in this song, and I feel like the drums were kinda dull. They're not bad, don't get me wrong, they're actually really good. Ray Luzier is a terrific drummer, but they're just there, and that's kind of it as far as drums and bass go. They really don't provide much outside of backing up the melody and rhythm, which to me is a shame, since Korn has always had different layers upon layers on most of their tracks. If they had just left this song in the oven a bit longer, then it might have turned out way better, but am I happy with the final product? Hell yeah. It's not perfect, but it's one hell of a good song, and not only for Korn, but also for a lot of Korn fans, because if you're someone who has spent more than just a minute browsing any comment section of a Korn video, then you'll know exactly how displeased a lot of fans were with the newer and more electronic version of Korn that we saw back in 2011, 2013, and 2014. Are there still elements of electronics present in this track? Yeah, kinda, but just a teeny tiny bit. It's actually balanced out so nicely that it actually contributes to the dark and mysterious atmosphere without getting in the way. Speaking of dark and mysterious, holy shit, the artwork for this single is so perfect for this track. The echoey, droning, heavy guitar distortion, Jonathan Davis' passionate and frustrated vocal delivery, feel these groovy, albeit a bit too quiet at times, bass slapping are 3 of the most prominent and beautiful parts of this track for me. The only real issue I have with this track, aside from the mixing, would be the scat part, where Jonathan Davis breaks into a growly and angry scream fest. This to me felt kinda out of place. It's kinda cool in its own right, granted, but I really felt like this part should have been cut from the song and replaced with something else, or just nothing at all. But hey, it's nice to see Korn bringing back the scat man of rock and roll. Jonathan Davis has aptly described this new and upcoming album as what Korn would have released right after their Untouchables album back in 2002, and I really couldn't have said it better myself. In fact, there is like this one segment of the song's music video that shows the band members of Korn waking up after a long time, rising from the rubble and dusting themselves off, right before breaking into a groove and playing this song. It's almost as if Korn themselves were like, yeah, we're back. Not just dubstep this time either, like, totally for real this time, you guys. This is definitely something you guys should check out, not just if you're fans of Korn. Whether you like them for their early stuff or their new stuff, you're bound to find something enjoyable out of this track. And I certainly think it's also worth checking out this track if you feel like expanding your taste in rock music, or if you're just looking for a song to vent out all of that pent-up anger and frustration with, just like classic Korn. Please do not let the name of the genre nu metal scare you or make you reluctant to even give it a listen. This is something that actually took me by great surprise, and I'm so fucking excited for this album to drop on October 21st this year. And what I think especially a lot of Slipknot fans out there will get psyched for is the upcoming guest appearance by Corey Taylor on this album. Why these two bands didn't do this 10 years ago, I don't fucking know, but right now I'm just glad to see nu metal making a resurgence after all this time. If I had to rate this track on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give it a solid 8. It's not perfect, but it's pretty fucking cool. So much so that I'm gonna try and get my hands on a copy of this album as soon as it releases later this year. Any fucking way, having that said, I wanna thank you guys for listening to me fanboy all over this band, and excuse me if I slobbered all over the genitals of this upcoming record, but like I said, it's definitely worth checking out. Welcome back, Korn. We missed you.